Let me try again. Mommy.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. Alhamdulillah, we want to start off with the praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is worthy of all of our praise. And then we send peace and blessing upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was sent as a mercy to the world. In our last week's class, we were talking about the hadith of Mu'adh bin Jabal, where a person's deeds will be taken to different levels, and then the angels, who are the guardians of that level of the skies, will return these deeds back, saying that I'm a protector of so and so type of sin. And because this person used to commit the sin, so now this person's deeds will be thrown into their face. And this is where we left off. Now we're reading the portion where Imam Ghazali was summarizing this. So to recap everything, we were talking about the sins of the body parts, in particular the sins of the heart. We went through some different sins of the heart, and we left off with this hadith. And now Imam Ghazali, he's summarizing it. So let's read ahead, Samad.
Sheikh Mubin, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you join the Instagram?
I can't at the moment, actually. Unfortunately.
Sorry. Say it again.
I can't join Instagram. I don't have a thing at the moment.
Oh, okay. I'll just end. Okay, page 124.
Yes.
Just at the top?
Yeah. From this part right here.
The narrator. Go ahead.
This then represents a small portion of the outward understanding.
Oh, okay. This then represents a small portion of the outward understanding of consciousness of Allah, and it is the beginning of guidance. So if you have tested yourself regarding it and yourself has complied, then continue on the revival of the religious sciences to learn the method for attaining the inner aspect of consciousness of Allah.
Once again, this is talking about taqwa, and we understand that taqwa has a big connection with the month of Ramadan. And and as this month of Ramadan flies by, many nights, whether it's in Qiyam, whether it's in our evening Quran recitation programs, one of the du'as that we constantly make is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us a pure heart, a sound heart, a heart that is clean and pure from sin. Pure and free from any type of diseases towards anybody, and diseases towards any in anyone's conditions or anyone's property. So here Imam Ghazali, he's saying that, look, if you want more, again, always remember that the Ihya Ulumuddin, which is 20 volumes, a person can refer back to that. Carry on.
When the innermost aspect of your heart becomes infused with the consciousness of Allah, it is then that the veils between you and your Lord will be lifted. The light of gnosis will be revealed to you. The springs of wisdom will burst forth from your heart. The secrets of the heavenly and earthly dominions will be made clear to you, and will be made easy for you by means of these sciences to dismiss with disdain those contemporary branches of harmful knowledge of which there was not even a mention in the time of the companions and the successors. May Allah be pleased with them all.
So this actually refers back to a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. When the Prophet ﷺ, he says, "At-taqwa hahuna," that taqwa is right here in the heart. So the Prophet ﷺ says, this is where taqwa originates from. This is where your heart is, where taqwa manifests, and that takes time to build. So here, Imam Ghazali, he's pointing out that a person, again, once they have a sound heart and they attain this quality of taqwa, then this person, slowly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes things easy. Slowly, they start to see things from a different light. Things start making more sense to them. They can differentiate what's between haqq and batil because this person always has Allah on their mind. And in one hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells us that beware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The very famous hadith of Ibn Abbas, it says, beware of Allah and Allah will beware of you. Don't forget about Allah, because if you forget about Allah, Allah's going to turn around and forget you. Keep Allah in your mind, keep Allah on your, in front of you, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will keep you in front of Him. And the hadith carried on that then Allah, He becomes the eyes that you see with, He becomes the ears that you hear with, that He becomes your body parts, meaning that He makes it easy. It's easy to protect your eyes, it's easy to protect your ears from disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And people always try to understand this, that why is it so hard for me to protect my gaze? Or why is it so hard for me, not to listen to something that's haram? I'm struggling with this sin. The other day, in our True Believers program, we were talking about how people struggle through sin, and what are some ways that they can get out from these addictions, get out from now that Ramadan's ending, they don't want to go back to their sins, and a person really wants to break away from their sins, but the question is how. And the beginning of it is, the core root is work on taqwa, work on being aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because taqwa is every time you go to reach for that sin, whether it's for, you're about to look at something that's haram, every time your eyes turn and you look at something that's haram, immediately you think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching me. Immediately you think that, will I be able to withstand the punishment of Allah if Allah punishes me tomorrow? Immediately you think that, how can I disobey Allah where Allah feeds me? How can I disobey Allah where Allah gives me, so many bounties and blessings? So Imam Ghazali now he's bringing that, look, your struggles that you face, the hardships that you go through, the tug of war in your heart with Iman. Maybe right now in the month of Ramadan, you're winning that battle of tug of war. And as soon as Ramadan done, Shaitan really starts to yank back. And now that the 27th night is done, we find ourselves that we're slowly starting to slip back down. Trust me, tonight's Tarawih will be a little bit harder. 29th Tarawih, tomorrow's Tarawih will be even more harder. And then when the month of Ramadan finishes and the first of Shawwal, the first of Shawwal starts, the day of Eid, we won't even wait. Shaitan won't wait to attack us. So this tug of war that's happening, to get a heads up, to get a head start on this battle with Shaitan, Imam Ghazali saying, look, work on your heart. Plant taqwa. Plant the being God conscious in there, and then a person will start to see things completely different. Even the knowledge, that we work for, the knowledge that we take classes, we listen to lectures. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open our eyes to see which is beneficial knowledge and what knowledge is just, it's not from the companions or it's not from the tabi'in. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with them. Let's read ahead.
But if you seek gnosis from idle gossip or from disputation and argumentation, how immense indeed is your misfortune. How long you will toil. How great is your deprivation and loss. Do as you wish, for the life that you seek by means of your religion will never submit to you, while the afterlife will slip away from you. Indeed, whoever seeks to gain this world by means of his religion will lose them both. Yet whoever gives up this world for his religion will profit from them both.
SubhanAllah. So Imam Ghazali said, look, if you're trying to sell your religion, and this is a struggle that so many people face. For example, you're at work and they said, if you're going to meet the clients, then you got to get rid of the beard, or you can't dress that in this way, or you can't do this, or you can't do this. And a lot of times now people have to sacrifice their religion, and they're okay to sacrifice their religion for the means of this world. Imam Ghazali said, look, if you sacrifice your religion for the means of the world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not give you either. You're not going to get the dunya, and you're not going to get the akhirah. But a person who sacrifices, who makes the akhirah priority, who makes the life in the hereafter, makes attaining Jannah priority, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give that person both. Now you might say, well, maybe that person might not live in such a big house. Maybe that person might not drive the most fancy cars. But whatever little that person has, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them contentment in the heart. So their 2-bedroom apartment, their Toyota Corolla that's outside, they'll be happy with it. For them, that's all they need. They'll be set in the akhirah and they'll be set in the dunya. In Surah Haqqa we read, فَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِيَمِينِهِ, as for the person who receives his book of deeds in his right hand. فَيَقُولُ هَا مُقْرَأُ كِتَابِيَ إِنِّي ظَنَنْتُ أَنِّي مُلَاقٍ حِسَابِيَ. He will go around telling people, look at my book of deeds, look at my book of deeds. I've won today. I'm successful. I have it. I'm set. Why? Because I knew I was going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنِّي ظَنَنْتُ أَنِّي مُلَاقٍ حِسَابِيَ. I knew I was going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and because I knew I was going to meet Allah, I sacrificed the dunya. I could have worked more hours, but that wouldn't have taken me away from my religion. I could have got that job, but I would have to deal with haram. I could have, lied or cheated or, did so many things or made the dunya my priority, but I didn't. Why? Because I wasn't willing to sacrifice my religion. My religion was not up for sale. And because this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give this person a good life in this dunya and a good life in the hereafter. Before this, Imam Ghazali rahmatullahi, first he talks about, if you're chasing dunya, how misfortune is that? You're worried about what people think about you. You're worried about how people, when people praise you, it really feeds your ego. Imam Ghazali said, how misfortunate is this? Because this is just blinding you. That just becomes your biggest concern. And from the dua of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to say, "Oh Allah, do not make the dunya my biggest concern. Akbaru hammina. Do not make this dunya my biggest concern. Why? Because it's just a non-stop loss. It's a whirlwind that you just keep going further and further and further down." So here Imam Ghazali kind of, again, he's really putting it down that wake up, don't be foolish, set your priorities. Do you want the dunya or do you want the akhirah? And in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does say that, look, there are those people who want the dunya and we will give it to them. But in the akhirah, they're not going to have anything. Right? وَمَا لَهُ مِنْ آخِرَةٍ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ, but nothing in the akhirah. On the other hand, there are people that want the akhirah and they strive for the akhirah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about how they will have in the akhirah and the dunya. So it makes complete sense. Put yourself to some struggles. Understand what your priorities are. Understand what your priorities are for your children, for your spouse. What do you want from your wife? What do you want from your husband? What do you want for your children? What do you want in your career? And then build those blocks accordingly. Don't just let the blocks fall into places, but plan it out. That my first block, the foundation of my life, the foundation of my religion, the foundation of my career has to be Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has to be the deen. These are some things that I will not sacrifice at all. This comes first. Let's read on ahead.
This is a summary of the guidance you need to reach the beginning of the path in your interaction with Allah, mighty and majestic, by carrying out His commands and avoiding what He has prohibited. We will now draw your attention to a short summary of good manners so you can take yourself to account in your relationship with the slaves of Allah, mighty and majestic, and your companionship with them in this life.
So here Imam Ghazali saying, okay, we talked about disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with your limbs, the heart, the tongue, the stomach, and really broke it down. But now he says that we're going to change the topic, and the last portion of this book is about akhlaq and characteristics. And akhlaq and characteristics is a huge part of our religion. There's so much to be said about good manners and good characteristics. Where the Prophet ﷺ used to say, "بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ," I was sent to complete people's characteristics and akhlaq. Right? In Surah Qalam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the Prophet ﷺ, and he says, إِنَّكَ لَعَلَىٰ خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Verily, you are on the best of characteristics. That Rasulullah ﷺ had the best characteristics. In other hadith, Rasulullah ﷺ says, the best amongst you is a person who has the best characteristics. Another version of this hadith said, the best amongst you is a person who is best towards his family. And he says, I am the best towards my family. So there are so many different narrations and so many different virtues of having good characteristics. And I think it's really important that a person understands where I can be a good Muslim. What's more required for me than being a good Muslim, or what's equally required for me from being a good Muslim, is me being a good human being. That is also very important. So a lot of times people will focus on, being a good Muslim. Oh, this is how much I have to pray. This is how much I have to fast. This is how much I have to do. But akhlaq-wise, they might be very horrible people. There might be people who their families don't get along with him. People that in the community, there's no, real attraction to this person. But on the other hand, you have people that really focus on their akhlaq, and this is really important. Because the Prophet ﷺ in one hadith, actually the dua of the Prophet ﷺ, whenever the Prophet ﷺ would look in a mirror, he would say, "Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, beautify my akhlaq, beautify my characteristics, my manners, the way that you have beautified my creation." So this is the Prophet ﷺ putting that priority down. Where your creation, the way you look, or your physical appearance might be important, but what's more important than that is your akhlaq, your characteristics, your manners. That are you a person that's sociable? Are you a person who is patient? And there's so many akhlaq. We've been doing this series for the Ramadan challenge, where we talk about challenging ourselves and building better akhlaq. Every night we've been talking about one new characteristics. But let's inshallah move ahead. Let's read through Imam Ghazali's portion of good characteristics.
Part 3, the etiquette of companionship with the Creator and with creation. Know that your companion, the one who never parts from you, whether you are home or you are traveling, whether you are asleep or awake, and indeed in your life and at your death, is none other than your Lord, your protector, your master, and your creator.
So I think this is this is a moment where everybody needs to stop and just reflect on this. Honestly, this paragraph right here, Imam Ghazali says, "Know your companion. You can say your soulmate." We always look at our companion and we think about our wife or our husband, somebody that's always with us. Imam Ghazali here, he says that you want your companion who never leaves you, who is always there. Your wife might go to her mother's house, but this companion is always there. You can be at home in the quarantine lockdown and he'll be with you. You can be traveling for work and he'll be with you. You can be asleep, awake, alive, or even dead, and he will be with you. It is none other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your Lord, your protector, your master, your creator. And it's really important to reflect on this, that wherever I am, wherever you might be, know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with you. And we've been talking about this verse so much, especially in the last odd nights, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. When my servant asks about me, that where am I? I am with you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's companionship is forever. Let's carry on.
Whenever you engage in remembrance of him, he is with you. As Allah Most High says, I am the companion of the one who engages in remembrance of me. And whenever your heart breaks with sorrow over your shortcomings in fulfilling the rights of your Lord, indeed he is your friend and constant companion. As your Lord Most High says, I am with those whose hearts are broken for my sake.
So two beautiful hadiths. Number one, Imam Ghazali, he brings a hadith where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I am the companion of those who engage in my remembrance, who remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? And of course, this is the verse in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, "Ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub." When you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the hearts find contentment. You find peace when you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you understand both of these parts together. That when you remember Allah, Allah is with you, and when your heart engages in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it finds peace and tranquility. And both of these brought together, you now have that when you remember Allah, Allah is there. Your beloved, your companion is there. And when your companion is with you in this dunya, when your wife is with you, when your husband is with you, when your most close people are with you, you find peace and tranquility. Then that's why we love being home at times, because our loved ones are there. You stay away from home for like a few weeks, and then you start missing home. So Imam Muzahid brings this hadith to kind of tie in that Allah is your companion, and that's why you find this peace in the heart. And then he brings this other hadith that tells us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with those people whose hearts are broken. And I feel like this hadith, it hits so many people, but they don't know about it. And in this dunya, there are so many people that are going through heartbreaks, so many people who are upset and sad. And a lot of it is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A 19, 18-year-old who says, I'm done sinning. I don't want to sin anymore. I want to protect my gaze. I want to protect my chastity. I want to control my desires, and I want to get married. This 19, 20-year-old goes and finds a sister, proposes to her father, and their father says, no way. You don't have a degree. You don't have a career. You're not a doctor. Get out of here. And this person, his heart's broken. This person, he's in a state where he feels completely, destroyed. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I am with that person whose heart is broken for my sake. So it's a very beautiful hadith. But once again, this hadith, ties into how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our companion, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with us. And again, a person, once you understand this, then any hardship that you face becomes easy. Any difficulty that you're going through, it becomes easy because you always have in mind that Allah is with me. And this was the situation of the Prophet ﷺ, and that's why the Prophet ﷺ, when he was migrating to Medina, and Abu Bakr said that, Ya Rasulullah, if they look down, they're going to see our feet. And the Prophet ﷺ said, but what do you think about this person, those two whose third is Allah? Thani Ithnain, that the two people whose third is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our companion, and He will take care of us. Let's read that.
If you knew him truly as he should be known, you would take him as your companion and leave people aside. If you are not able to do this all the time, then beware of leaving your entire night and day devoid of a time spent alone with your master, therein to taste the sweetness of intimate dialogue with him. For this you must learn the manners of companionship with Allah, mighty and majestic.
SubhanAllah. I think it's I know for me it really hits home, because with last night being the 27th night, I'm sure everybody had that moment where they were making dua alone. Right? I think that was the beauty of this Ramadan. Everybody had that moment where they were connected to Allah alone, where it wasn't a room full of people of 100, 200, 300 people in the masjid, but it was just you and maybe some family, or maybe even just you, and you were talking to Allah and spilling your heart out in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that look, these are my struggles, this is what I'm going through. And you're pouring your heart out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I know I had that feeling that, why don't I do this more often? I need to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even more. So Imam Ghazali is saying, look, once you understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is your companion, then you won't worry about other people. You'll leave other people aside. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will be enough for you. Hasbunallah, ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is enough for us. How great of a master and how great of a helper is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So once you understand that Allah is with me, then hasbunallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is enough. You don't need anybody else. We push everybody else aside. And if you can't do this, then make sure that you're leaving, your entire night and day, that you don't leave it without a portion. Take some time out where it's just you and Allah, where you're talking to Allah, where you're spilling your heart out in front of Allah. That moment that you had last night on the 27th night where you were talking to Allah and you felt connected. You felt like something come over your body, that maybe even a tear came to your eye and you ask yourself that I'm not a person that cries. But that was your moment with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Imam Ghazali is saying, look, understand that He's always with you and you don't need anybody else. And if you can't do that, then remember, take some time out of the day, dedicate some time where you are talking to Allah and you are connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That way you can taste the sweetness of an intimate dialogue with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The sweetness of just connecting with Allah. And when you talk about sweetness, I remember one of my sheikhs, whenever he would say Allah's name, he would actually, Sheikh Hashim, whenever he would say Allah's name, he would say it in a weird tone. And he would say Allah's name and no two times would sound the same. So like instead of saying Allah, 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 he would say Allah, Allah, like it would change, right? And we asked him that, Sheikh, why do you remember Allah in this manner? And he says that when I say Allah's name, I actually taste a sweetness in my mouth. Literally, I taste a sweetness in my mouth. And again, for some people, it might be hard to digest, or some people, they might like, that doesn't make sense. But for a person who understands what love is, a person who understands what devotion is, it makes complete sense. And he would say that when I say Allah's name, I taste a sweetness in my mouth. Remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that gives sugar its sweetness. Remember, it was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who told the fire not to burn Ibrahim alayhi salam. It was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that told the knife not to cut Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to have an actual flavor of sweetness in your mouth when you say His name, that's not far-fetched. But once you start talking to Allah and you build a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and just like any other of our relationships, every relationship of ours takes time, takes effort. You slowly build on it. You slowly build on it. The first time you meet somebody is probably awkward. Hey, what's up? How's it going? The second time you start talking some more, you start opening up some more. And that's what your conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to be like. You're going to slowly open up and get better and better, and you're going to pour your heart out. And then you understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with me. And then that's all a person needs. But let's do this, inshallah. We'll wrap up here. Again, these are the last few nights of the month of Ramadan. And inshallah, this will be our last class until we're going to give like a 2-week break. And then inshallah, we'll send out a flyer, we'll send out the information, and then we'll carry on. But inshallah, jazakallah khair for everybody joining. We may dua Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts all the ibadah that we've done in the month of Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept us coming together. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cleanse our heart and protect us from sinning with our body parts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us akhlaq and give us understanding that He is our true companion, and His companionship is all that matters. Again, once again, in advance, we would like to say Eid Mubarak to you and your family. May you have a blessed Eid, a Eid full of happiness and joy. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.